Hello and welcome to
Good evening.
welcome to our 24th episode of
Maughter Podcast.
I am Claudia, I am mother. This is Polly, she is daughter.
Sorry if you can hear my dryer.
And I'm sorry that I'm a little congested. I helped Polly with some of her laundry, and needless to say, it made me worse. And I even wore a mask in there because I was like...
Because she's allergic to cats.
Yeah.
It had cat hair on it.
Yeah, and she's got 2 cats that she's slowly trying to kill me, I think. She's a little bit sneaky that way. So
I'm not going to do it outright.
Excuse me, that's true.
Speaking of killing...
our podcast episode is about...
the worst ways people have died.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah.
We're pretty morbid. Alright, let's continue our morbidity.
Let's start it, because we haven't started it, so we can't continue it.
Oh yeah, let's start our morbidity. I'm already tired, so we gotta make this fat. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, let's start this podcast. I feel like I haven't even started this. I feel like I'm not even here right now. Okay. Anyways.
Okay, so these are just small ones from Reddit.
Read it.
And then I have one that I want to explain a little more.
Okay.
Okay, so first one I have. Okay, so this guy was put in prison and don't move the chip bag. In 1757 for trying to assassinate a king.
Okay.
I think. Anyway, he was first subjected to torture in which his legs were painfully compressed by devices called boots. He was then tortured with red-hot pincers.
What are those?
Pincers.
Like little tweezers?
Like round ones. Like, they pinch.
Okay.
Big pinch.
Okay.
Like a crab.
Okay.
Yeah. The hand in which he held the knife during the attempted assassination was burned using sulfur. Molten wax, molten lead, and boiling oil were poured into his wounds.
Oh my goodness.
He was then remanded to the royal executioner Charles Henry Sanson, who, after emasculating him,
Excuse me,
harnessed horses to his arms and legs to be dismembered, like quartering. But his limbs didn't separate easily, so Sanson had to cut his tendons.
Ew.
And once that was done, the horses were able to perform the dismemberment. Once he was dismembered, to the applause of the crowd, his reportedly still living torso was burnt at the stake.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense.
Starting off strong.
That's because he tried to assassinate the king at the time.
Yeah. I think a king. Someone, obviously.
High
Powerful.
up there.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty bad.
That sounds torturous. Like,
Yeah.
legit torturous. Huh. Okay.
Thanksgiving Day, 1900, a huge college football game at Stanford. Okay?
Okay.
About 500 people tried to watch the game for free by standing on the roof of a nearby glass factory.
First off, it's a glass roof.
How do you know? It's a glass factory.
Oh, glass factory. Sorry.
The roof collapsed and hundreds of people fell 4 stories to the factory floor. Approximately 60 to 100 fell on top of a glass furnace with surface temperatures over 500 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
Some were pinned in place by fallen rods, and some were sprayed with scalding oil from broken fuel pipes. I was like 500 people.
That was 500 people?
Yeah. It says about 500 people.
Yikes.
Just to watch college football. For free. Okay, this next one, I have a story to go with it.
Okay.
Skinning.
Ugh.
Many Mexican cartels kill their victims by removing their skin. The process may last for hours or days, considering the most painful way to die.
Oh.
Okay, so I watch gore for fun.
Yeah, because...
Not for fun, for morbid curiosity. Okay?
Pardon me.
You're pardoned. The only video that has ever bothered me it's called Funky Town, because Funky Town yeah, it's playing in the background.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, this cartel got this guy, and all you can see is his face. So his arms were cut off like halfway up.
I feel like we should put a viewer discretion advised in this one.
I'll put one.
Okay, good.
Halfway up, his arms were cut off.
Okay.
His face was completely skinned.
Gross.
His head was skinned.
Whoa.
His eyeballs were taken out.
Gosh. I'm gonna have nightmares.
What really bothered me...
Because that didn't?
Well, that bothered me. What really bothered me was that his eye sockets were... Like, his eyeballs were taken out, right? So it's just filled with blood.
Yeah.
And, like, you couldn't even recognize it as human, right? Because there's no skin on his face.
Can you please stop talking?
And at the same time, like, he's losing all this blood, but they also have him hooked up to an IV of adrenaline to keep him awake. The entire time.
Ew.
And this video that I watched was probably 5 or 6 minutes long. And just watching that, I don't know how long he was there. And at the end of it, they tried to cut his throat, but the knife was so dull that it didn't do, like, anything. They were just sawing at him.
Excuse me, that one saw.
So kids, don't do drugs. Don't sell drugs. And don't rip off your drug dealers.
Right? I feel like that's like the definite moral of the story on that one.
Yeah, and even one of the comments on this, it says they'll also give victims meth or coke so they don't pass out. Yeah,
because they want them alive to feel this pain.
But this one was an actual, like, an IV bag on a...
Why would they post that?
Well, they were recording it because they're all laughing, right? It's cartel.
How was that amusing?
I've seen terrible cartel things. Like, they're brutal.
Oh, you just...
They'll cut off your genitals and, like, stick them in your mouth.
Gross.
Yeah. And that's how cops find you, or people find you.
Can you imagine the pain that would be?
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
Okay, this one's kind of funny.
So I think we have a different definition of funny, to be honest.
This one's funny. So, there was a warrior that defeated his rival, right?
Okay.
So he decapitated him and carried his head around as a trophy. And somewhere along the way, the head bounced, because he was probably on horseback or something, right?
Yeah.
The head bounced against his leg and bit him. Because his mouth was probably open, right?
Ew.
So it bit him, and the warrior died from the infection that he got from the bite.
Shut up. Is that even possible? Well, obviously, but still.
Some guy says it was a Norse invader in Scotland.
Sounds like karma bit him.
Yeah.
Literally, excuse me, karma bit him.
Yeah.
Oh my god, can you imagine? Yes, I succeeded, haha. Dies after because of an infection from the person that he killed. That would so be sucky.
I know.
Oh
Okay.
Gosh.
And I want to talk about the Nutty Putty Cave.
The what?
The Nutty Putty Cave.
That sounds like kind of like silly putty.
Yeah. Okay, so then the cave itself is located in Utah.
Okay.
It was first explored in 1960 and quickly became famous for its narrow and slippery passageways, twists, turns, and squeezes.
It squeezes.
So it was pretty popular for people who like to do cave things, right?
Okay.
It's a challenge to squeeze through a cave and, like, you know...
That just gives me, like...
Claustrophobia?
Yeah. It gives you a little bit of anxiety just thinking of having to squeeze through a cave.
Yeah. So it was 145 feet long.
Okay. How many football field is that?
I don't know. It's not even a football field.
Oh, so smaller than a football field.
Okay, an ice rink?
Yeah.
Like, NHL ice is 200 feet long.
Oh, so smaller than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not that long.
Okay.
So, this is a picture of it.
Okay.
That's how thin it was.
It looks like an intestine.
Yeah. This is the entrance.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
John Jones. Not Jim Jones. Not Jim Jones. John Jones.
Who's
Okay.
Jim Jones? I feel like I have to know this.
You do have to know
Who's
this.
Jim Jones?
Drink the Kool-Aid?
Oh, no. We just talked about Jim Jones.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow.
Sorry, I'm a little slow today, guys.
Okay, so John had plenty of caving experience, but not recently. Most of his spelunking was done when he was a kid. John's father frequently took him and his younger brother on caving trips all over Utah.
Okay.
Josh wasn't his only brother. John Edward Jones was born into a big family of 5 boys, 2 girls. He had 16 nieces and nephews. He was a devout Christian. He was known for his good nature, delightful sense of humor, strong work ethic, genuine love for people, blah, blah, blah. He was a good person.
Blah, blah.
At the time of the accident, John was studying to become a pediatric cardiologist and recently became a father. And his wife was pregnant with their second child.
Aww.
This is him. So, on November 24th, 2009, the brothers John and Josh decided to rekindle their love for caving and picked Nutty Putty Cave as their next conquest. It was 8 p.m. on Wednesday, just a few days before Thanksgiving when they arrived at the cave site. They weren't alone. 9 more friends and acquaintances had joined them, so by caving standards, it was quite a large group that entered the cave.
Yeah.
Everything went smooth for an hour or so. The party had explored the largest room of the cave, aptly named the Big Slide. Soon, John, Josh, and 2 of their friends decided to take up the challenge they heard about, namely passing through the birth canal, a narrow and challenging passageway that eventually opens up into a larger room. John went first. He wriggled forward for some time but did not see any larger area. He continued to inch forward, but the narrow passage did not come to an end. Instead, the squeeze made a sharp downward turn. Confidently, John pressed forward. Perhaps noticing the tunnel got wider at the bottom, but it was already too late. It all went wrong 50 feet earlier. It is unclear from the conflicting sources on the internet whether John entered the birth canal and accidentally turned and wriggled into the Scout Eater. It says it on the map. I'll put a map of the thing. Or if he had missed the birth canal entirely and crawled into another passageway, just next to the birth canal, called Ed's Push. Now, Ed's Push does not lead to a larger room. It does not lead anywhere. At least nowhere a 6-foot, 200-pound man can fit. Ed's Push has 4 uncharted passageways at its end, but they're all too small for a human. In any case, John kept pushing through until he couldn't continue. To top things off, he had wriggled into a fissure that went nearly straight down, which made him unable to turn back on his own. The narrow crevice he was trapped in measured 10 by 18 inches.
Inches?
Yeah, so less than a foot by less than 2 feet. The size is comparable to the opening of a front-loading washing machine.
Okay.
Except it wasn't a perfect circle, and he was stuck in the tightest part of the opening, trapped more than 100 feet below ground and deep inside the cave. All John could do was wait and pray.
Wait for what?
Somebody to save him. I'll show you pictures after.
Is it gruesome?
No.
Okay, good.
His brother Josh, who was following him, was the first one to find John. Anxious of how much the rock had swallowed John, Josh tried to pull him out, but only managed to inch him up a little. As soon as he let John go, he slid right back into the crevice. John was stuck with one hand pinned underneath him and the other hand forced backwards. His ankles and feet were free, but were little use because gravity was pushing him down. They both said a quick prayer, and Josh hurried back to the ground as soon as he could, slowly wriggling out of the tight passageway and rushing to the surface. Once outside, he quickly called for help while their friends stayed with John. The first person to arrive to help, Susan, was a local rescue volunteer who immediately dropped everything she was doing when she received the message on her rescue pager and rushed to the scene. She arrived sometime around midnight. It was now more than 3 hours since John had been trapped deep inside the cave. Small, agile, and quick Susan took no time to reach John. "Hi, John. My name is Susan. How's it going?" "Hi, Susie. Thanks for coming," John said, "but I really, really want to get out."
Yeah.
Within the next few hours, tens and tens of rescuers arrived. The rescue teams quickly brainstormed plan after plan. They discussed everything, even lubing the walls of the cave.
Oh, yeah.
Until they decided to use a rescue rope that passes through a series of climbing cams, with one end of the rope tied around John's legs and the other end pulled by the team. At the same time, they also tried drilling away chunks of rock near John.
I was going to say, can you not drill around him?
But the hard material and the awkward position made drilling a slow and painful work. In over an hour, they only managed to drill through a couple inches of rock. The position of John's body also complicated things. He was trapped nearly upside down. Only his feet were visible to the rescuers, and the ceiling above his feet hangs so low that the rescuers couldn't pull him out, as his feet would get in the way. Time passed as rescuers frantically and failed with their first systems of climbing cams. They then tried to use a rope pulley system, anchoring the pulleys with bolts, drilling the bolts deep inside the cave walls.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick peek at the picture here. So the picture that's probably showing me, he's upside down. Probably have to put a picture up,
Yeah.
Hopefully.
This is what you could see.
So you can only see his foot in a really narrow
his
opening.
Feet. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
Everything was made more difficult by how narrow the cave was, even though there was a large team of rescuers, volunteers, emergency services, and rescue helicopter outside. Only one person could directly access him.
Okay.
Because only one person can fit down there
exactly.
at a time.
It's too narrow.
Meanwhile, John was doing worse. He had now been stuck upside down for a long time, having some difficulty breathing, and his heart had to work twice as hard against gravity to push the continuous blood flow
I was going to say the blood flow.
out of his brain. He was swinging back and forth between panic and calmness. At one point, they brought a two-way cable radio into the cave and managed to lower it to him so he could speak with his wife, who was near the cave entrance on the surface. They were both agitated but comforted each other.
Aww.
John had now been trapped upside down for 19 hours. Everything changed when the rescuers finally finished installing their pulley system and started pulling John out. They worked in an eight-men tandem, all tugging as one. John was at times in great pain, so they made frequent pauses, but each time they pulled, they managed to pull John up a little more. After pulling him upwards the third time, John was finally lifted high enough so that he can make eye contact with the rescuer closest to him. He looked tired, his eyes were red, his face was dirty, but he otherwise seemed fine.
Yeah.
How are you? It sucks. I'm upside down. I can't believe... Oops. Sorry. I'm upside down. I can't believe I'm upside down. My legs are killing me.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
The rescuers saw that even though John was complaining, he had a smile on his face. They had another rest and decided to continue pulling John up. He was almost out. When the rescue team pulled John upward for the fourth time, something happened.
Oh, no.
The entire team fell backwards as the rope suddenly went loose in their hands. The closest rescuer felt something hard hit his face, and he passed out for a second.
What happened?
When he came to, he saw nothing but dust. Once the dust settled, he realized the stone arch near John's legs where the rope was tied around had shattered, and the nearest key bolt had broken off. He couldn't make out in the dust where exactly John was, but soon realized John had slid right back into the crevice again.
Oh.
This time seemingly even deeper than before.
Oh my gosh.
Because gravity, if he falls, he's going to go in deeper, right? The rescuer suffered severe facial injuries from the impact with the metal carabiner and couldn't continue his rescue efforts. He had to switch places with his dad, who was also on the rescue team. When he reached John, he realized that John's breathing was much more shallow and less frequent.
Oh, no.
And he was struggling to stay alive. The rescuer called for John, but no response. Desperate, he tried to lower himself into the crevice to put the rope around John's waist, but got stuck himself.
Oh, no, it's getting worse.
After finally wriggling himself free, he drilled a new hole for the pulley and crawled out of the cave exhausted, to be replaced by yet another rescuer who reached John but couldn't make contact with him. Soon after, a medical professional crawled into the space and reached John. At midnight, November 25th, John was pronounced dead. He was 26 years old.
So he died in that cave. Did they eventually get his body out?
He's still there.
So his bones are now there. Well, now they're just dropped down kind of thing.
Yeah. They couldn't physically get him out.
Is that cave, like, still open, you think?
Probably not. No, it says a week after public authorities decided to close the cave permanently, it has been sealed ever since.
How do you seal it? Just put a big rock in it kind of thing?
Probably seal it with cement or something. A total of 137 rescuers worked for 27 hours to save John,
Poor guy.
but had to leave the tragic site with empty hands and heavy hearts. One of them told the media that this was his toughest rescue in 29 years of being a search and rescue volunteer. The next day, the authorities determined it was too difficult and dangerous to get his body out of the cave. Aww. So Nutty Buddy Cave will forever remain the final resting place for John Edward Jones.
That sucks.
John's family had a plaque put at the entrance of the cave in his memory.
That's sad.
Yeah. Isn't that terrible? Was it 29 hours? Being stuck upside down?
Upside down? You'd lose, like, that's just way too much blood to your brain.
At least he got to talk to his wife.
That's true. That's sad.
Yeah.
That was a sucky way to die for sure. That whole time you were reading, you were like stressing me out.
Why?
Because I'm just like, oh my god, I can't even imagine. Like, the whole time I'm thinking, like, I just breathing issues. I was like, oh god, he's gonna make it. And then I'm like, yes, he's making it. And then he's not making it. I'm like, oh, I just like broke my heart every time.
Are you gonna cry?
No, I'm not. I'm severely congested, but I'm not gonna cry. Yeah. I don't know.
Pretty terrible, right?
Yeah. That's pretty tragic.
Yeah.
I still feel like I'm having breathing issues.
Just call me John Jones.
Yeah, right, eh? Or what was the other one? Jim Jones?
No, not Jim Jones. Okay. I have a few more.
Okay.
True story. A friend of mine was returning
Happened to a friend of mine? Sorry.
I'll end the podcast right now.
Oh, if you guys could see Polly's face when I said that, it was perfect. Anyways, so this happened to Polly's friend.
No.
Excuse me. She said so.
This is anonymous telling it.
Okay. You're anonymous.
A friend of mine was returning from a business trip, and her boyfriend of 5 years was to pick her up at the airport. She got off her plane and collected her luggage, surprised to see that he wasn't there waiting with open arms. Thinking that he might have gotten stuck in traffic and was on his way, she walked outside to the pickup lane. She waited for 3 hours while trying to call his cell and text him, all the while growing agitated with the lack of response. Her agitation quickly switched to remorse when she arrived at her house. She walked into the bathroom and found him dead on the floor. He had died a quick and painless death, having suffered an embolism in his brain while he was on the toilet.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Could you imagine?
No.
That's some Elvis Presley stuff right now.
Right? I don't even know what to say to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly.
Okay, next.
How bad would you feel?
I know. It says, at the bottom, it says she was gripped by guilt at her reaction to the absence at the airport for years. Sometimes the pain and sadness of death is felt more intensely by those who are left behind.
Yeah. Yikes. Okay. That would be, yeah. Definitely unfortunate.
The death of Melanie Bittersing has to fall into that category. She was a 17-year-old whose body was found stuffed into a suitcase.
What?
That was dumped in a parking lot and set on fire in Toronto. Her remains showed... She was 17.
Okay.
Her remains show that she had been brutally beaten and severely malnourished. She weighed 55 pounds at the time of her death and had over 20 fractures.
55 pounds? That's probably like less than a little more than Alejandro.
Yeah.
Who's 4.
She remained a cold case until 2011 when her stepmother told a pastor that she had died like a dog, been beaten badly, denied food and medication, and kept locked in a broom closet for most of her life. The pastor informed the police.
So the stepmother or mother?
The stepmother and father have since been arrested, tried, and sentenced to life in prison. It was so sad that this girl lived 17 years of hell on earth, tortured, and finally killed by the people who are supposed to protect and love her. When she died, she had not made enough of an impact in anyone's life for them to know what was going to happen or to care. When she died, nobody even noticed she was gone. That's really sad.
And it's true. They wouldn't have noticed because she was hidden away this whole time.
Yeah.
But is it like she registered as a born child? Don't they follow up to find out like how come she's not in school?
I don't know.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That poor soul.
Okay.
You're just making me sad, Polly.
So this woman was working in hospice.
Okay.
She said this one woman came into a nursing care facility and was recommended to be put on hospice. I came there to admit her. She was alone and obviously in extremely poor condition. She had numerous health issues. What I remember most about her is that she had so much fluid buildup in her system that it was literally oozing out of her skin.
Oh.
You gently squeeze her arm and water would be dripping out of her
Oh.
skin. Her lungs were so full of fluid you could hear the liquid.
How?
Oh, you can hear.
No, I mean, how can you be filled up with so much fluid?
Because she's gonna die. I quickly called a doctor to get orders for pain meds, oxygen, comfort measures, and the sort. I'm busy filling out the paperwork and I call the next of kin. I'm trying to give them a ton of information quickly because I know we're almost out of time. I go back in there and she's struggling to breathe. I sit her up and put oxygen on, waiting for the meds to arrive so I can make her a bit more comfortable. I sat with her, held her hand, and just cried. What a crappy way to die, struggling to breathe, fluid leaking everywhere, probably in pain, and alone. I held her hand until she eventually passed before the medications could even arrive.
Oh. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like at that point just killed me. Horrible to say, excuse me, but it's true.
The last patient I had didn't die with me there. He had a cancerous tumor growing on his carotid artery. He had a small lesion visible. It was growing. The doctor said that it was just a matter of time before the tumor would invade the carotid, and there would be a great deal of blood loss quickly. The only thing you can do is tell the family to have a lot of dark-colored towels ready for when the inevitable gusher of blood would come. That, along with suction and Ativan. I couldn't imagine living your life knowing that you would bleed out excessively at any unknown moment of time.
Gross.
Yeah. The carotid is the one in your
I sound very insensitive. I shouldn't have said that. Sorry.
Ew.
But yeah. Oh. Oof. Yikes.
Yeah. Those are pretty terrible.
Yeah, those are... God, you make me so depressed. Just hearing all these things.
Listen to this.
Kind of afraid to you, actually.
Imagine walking home. This is a true story. Imagine walking home after... I'm gonna...
Sorry, I had to. Okay, go ahead.
Imagine walking home after a movie with your friend and getting on a bus to go home just at 9 p.m. Imagine a bunch of guys
Of course.
graping you and sticking a rod into you and pulling your intestines out. And then you're admitted to the hospital.
What?
And you struggle for life. With all the strength you gather, you write down, "I want to live," expressing the most basic instinctual want a human being has, and then dying. This is the story of Nabira, a Delhi grape victim in 2012. This incident shocked the entire nation, and a lot of protests were held. Grapes are still prevalent in India, making it one of...
Sorry, when you keep saying grapes...
Because I don't want our video to get restricted.
I know, but when you said that, I'm like, she worked at a deli grape? I didn't clue in. I'm a little slow today, I said, remember that. Sorry.
They're still prevalent in India, making it one of the biggest security concerns for women in metro and rural areas alike. That's whack.
Her intestines.
Yeah.
Were pulled out.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine the pain. I would probably just die halfway through that due to the pain.
Listen to this.
I'm scared to listen to anything you say now.
My 6th grade teacher told our class about how a girl from a neighboring city had done this at a birthday party, hoping to emit... Okay, so she was inhaling, like, swallowing helium.
Okay.
Hoping to emit the high-pitched squeak that comes from it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, her friends say she passed out and stopped breathing. The helium had gone into her lungs much like water does when you're drowning, and killed her. This would be a quick death, though, because you'd pass out unconscious and then you die.
How many times have you inhaled helium?
Like, once. I don't like doing it.
Just like that.
Yeah.
It happened. How old is she? Did they say
she was a kid.
Oh my gosh. I feel like that's something you do as an adult. Even though you shouldn't.
I've seen a lot of kids do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, maybe nobody should be doing that, period.
Okay.
Oh, that would suck.
Okay, I have one more.
Okay.
Jose Molina, 62, was loading a 35-foot-long oven at the company's Santa Fe Springs plant. The company's called Bumblebee.
Okay.
Before dawn, October 11th, 2012, when a coworker who mistakenly believed Molina was in the bathroom filled the pressure cooker with 12,000 pounds of canned tuna, and it was turned on, according to a report by the California Division of Occupational Health and Safety. The oven where the Bumblebee worker died in 2012 in Santa Fe Springs, California, state regulators found that the chain that pulls carts of tuna over the oven sometimes gets snagged, requiring operators to enter the ovens to pull the carts through. His body was found 2 hours later after the pressure cooker, which reached 270 degrees, was turned off and opened. He was cooked to death.
He was inside fixing the snag.
Yeah. And the other guy didn't even look to see if he was in there.
Oh my god. He's like, oh, it's all set up.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and use
Why
this.
wouldn't you look?
I guess because he's assuming it's all set up.
Yeah,
But why wouldn't you go look for the guy and be like, hey, is this ready to go?
Yeah.
I feel like that's something you would do.
He just assumed he was in the bathroom.
But
I'd
still,
be like, no.
even so,
I
like,
go check.
But even so, like, it's just a new setup. Wouldn't you want to confirm everything is set up and good to go?
The place got sued because they kept using it for years after. The same vat.
But the guy died in?
Yeah.
Ew, isn't that like unsanitary?
Like, yeah, it's supposed to be. That's why they were sued.
Gross. What do they make? They didn't say.
Well, it said tuna, so.
Oh, tuna, duh. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Isn't that gross?
That's, ugh. Well, I'm going to definitely say some of those things probably that you mentioned are definitely some horrible ways to die from.
You remember 1,000 Ways to Die?
Yeah.
There was a couple in there that really stuck with me.
Sorry, explain to people if they don't know what the 1,000 Ways to Die is.
It was a TV show that just had recreations of the ways people died, but in just stupid ways.
Yeah.
There was one where this guy had a party trick of swallowing billiard balls, like pool balls.
Okay, yeah.
And then he would like regurgitate them and
Ew.
you know. And when you're drunk or with your friends, it's funny, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to see how big the ball
But
would be.
he did it with the cue ball, not knowing that the cue ball is
Bigger?
a smidge bigger. And he suffocated and died because he couldn't get it out of his throat.
Obviously.
There's that one. There was,
Like, are those true?
huh? Yeah.
True stories?
Well, they say they are. I don't know if they are,
Yeah.
but I assume.
Yeah.
There was one where there was this couple. I don't know what they were doing. They were in two separate cars.
Yeah.
There was two different drivers, and then they were like leaning out the windows, and they were kissing, and there was a telephone pole.
Oh, I can't even
between.
imagine what's going to happen
And they
here.
were gonna, pull their heads back, obviously, right? Because they're coming up on this
Yeah.
phone pole. But their piercings in their mouth got stuck together, and like almost decapitated them both.
Oh, gross. Because that would be painful.
I seen another one where this woman, she was like I think she was a bodybuilder, but she had implants.
Okay.
Like boob implants. And she was on one of those machines where you, like, if you lay on it, you go all the way back.
Oh, yeah. Like kind of like stretchers?
Yeah, like scary ones. She got on it, and she fell backwards and couldn't get herself back up, and her boobs suffocated her because they were so big.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Note to self, wear a proper bra when going to work out. Polly's face when she's laughing.
I remember one of those episodes opened with, you ever walk into a hospital and feel like someone's having sex? It's probably because it's true. And then I don't remember what the rest of the episode was.
No, I never walk into the hospital thinking that ever.
Me neither.
Mostly because I work in a hospital for one, and I hope to
It's
goodness.
like Grey's Anatomy, like
that. Yeah, and then I think I'm like, I work in a hospital, but at the same time I think like you don't know what goes on there. I don't know. I can't. No, I can't. I don't want to think about it. I'm not going there. Just saying.
I think I seen another terrible way to die. It was this guy. He was like a super experienced diver.
Okay.
And one of his goals was to reach the bottom of this really deep area.
Yeah.
So he dove down there. And he didn't have enough oxygen to come back up. And he has a body cam on the whole time.
So basically it recorded him dying.
Yeah. Because if you go up too fast, you can't go up so fast because you get the bends.
But then you have to get up because you have no oxygen.
You can't though. You get the bends.
What's that?
It's when you have too much carbon dioxide, I think, in your system.
Yeah.
And like the pressure just...
But then you're trying to get up, I mean, because you need air.
Yeah. But
so
you go up too fast and you die. The bends can kill you.
Yeah.
Or you stay down
and you die. So either way, you're pretty much dying.
Yeah.
Dying. Dead. Dead.
But you can hear this guy, like, he's crawling on the ocean floor, and like you can hear him panic.
What happens to his body? It just stays down there?
Yeah.
It's funny because every time we watch something with an ocean or like even like a TV show, me and Dad at home, I always ask the same dumb question. Can people touch the bottom of that ocean? And he's like, no, probably not. And he's like, but what if you can? He's like, well, you can't.
You can't.
And I'm like, what lives down there? Do you think anybody knows? He's like, well, I'm sure. Obviously, there's creatures. But
nobody knows what lives
That's
down
what
there.
I mean. He's like, but there's like animals, some form of animals. There's probably. And I'm like, what do they look like? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, do you think it looks like this? He's like, I don't know.
We know more about space than we do our own oceans because we can't get that far down.
Can you imagine? It's probably the deadliest predators down there, hey?
No.
Or the friendliest little ones. Do you think mermaids, if they were real, they can go down there?
No. Because if mermaids were real, they'd be half human.
Yeah?
And humans can't go down that deep. Not a lot of creatures can go down that deep.
That's what I mean. Like, so what creatures live past that creature line? Sorry.
Creatures that can live without sunlight.
Like what?
Because when you get farther into the ocean, you get less and less sun, right? That's why, like, a lot of them don't have eyes.
Ew.
They just feel.
Ew, stop.
They have different ways
That
of,
gives
like,
me the
sensing
EBGBs.
things. Well, think about, like, squids. Or not squids, like
Squids.
jellyfish.
Jellyfish don't have eyes?
I don't think so. Look at them.
Look at them.
They're just like little mushrooms.
With little tentacles.
But, like, a lot of them just...
Do you think sharks live under there?
Some sharks can live relatively deep.
Can you imagine being like, go and explore that low and you make it and you start filming all this weird wacko stuff?
Well, could you imagine what lives down there that... Because there's a lot of ocean that we can't get to.
Yeah.
And, like, we can't even measure how deep it is.
Get a measuring tape. Just keep going it down, bringing it down.
Because we can't even put equipment down there. Because the pressure is so great, it'll just crush it, right?
That just blows my mind.
Yeah. Because think about how heavy water is. That's pressure.
I guess, yeah. We kind of drifted off here.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the dumb question I ask Dan all the time when watching TV of the water and ocean. Like, you think someone's blah, blah, blah? And it's like the same question. He's like, what
The
do you
world's biggest graveyard is the ocean.
Excuse me. Yeah, because, like, Like, can you imagine how much treasure? Not like our pirate treasure, but I mean like
Pirate treasure.
Like
Pirate.
treasure, like in general, like what kind of stuff you would find down there.
Yep.
It's like you need a big, huge metal detector just to suck it up.
And it's crazy because that makes up 70% of our planet.
Right?
And we don't even know what's in there.
Can you imagine if we sucked up all the water out of the whole entire world and what we'd find?
Death,
I was
probably.
going to say a lot of dead animals.
Us dying.
Your face when you said that.
The
Us
moon
dying.
colliding with the earth.
But you know what I mean? Like, vacuum most of the water up just to see what's down there. You think it's
You
possible?
just, like, take this out.
You think it's possible? Like, obviously not. But can you imagine?
It would just be a pile of fish.
That you think.
No, I know. It would be a pile of sea creatures.
Okay, because not all oceans and rivers and stuff like that are connected into one big one, right? Or are they? I'm like, or are they?
Well, no,
Geography.
a lake doesn't go anywhere. It's
No,
a
but
lake.
an ocean, like the
Yeah.
Pacific and the Atlantic, do they connect somehow?
They're all connected.
They're not?
They're all connected.
Okay, never mind then.
There's no piece of land that goes all the way around the earth connecting it.
Because I was going to say, what if you grab everything and vacuum it up into one ocean and put it into the other ocean? That way you can kind of see what's in there.
There's actually, I can't remember which oceans or seas it is, but there's a distinct line between the two in the water.
But
Like
it's
there's a color difference.
Really?
Yeah, like they're different.
But they're not different enough that they're separated.
No, but they're separate.
Physically separate. Physically
Yeah,
different.
yeah, physically.
That's what I mean, though. That'd be kind of cool if you could do that. Or kind of stupid.
Just
because
put you over here.
That's what I mean. Like, you vacuum it all up, you dump it on the other side of the ocean. And that would, like, decrease the water level on that ocean so you can kind of see what's in there more.
Yeah, but then every continent on the other side gets a tsunami.
Well, it wouldn't be that drastic. I don't mean, like...
It would be that drastic. I don't think you know how much water we have.
Okay, you know, like, obviously you're not going to suck up half the water. Like, I mean in, like, quarters, like, a small quarter of it. Like, to a certain level. Okay, I think we have to stop talking about this because I'm just sounding really, really dumb right now. Because Polly's looking at me like, what is wrong with you? She's giving me that you need to stop talking face right now. Pardon me.
We should do a whole episode on sea creatures.
No, I think I'd be creeped out because, like, sharks and stuff, like, scare me.
You don't go to the ocean.
I know, but lies, because when I was in Chile,
That one time.
yeah, okay, I've been to Chile more than once. So when I went to Chile, one of the times I went to Chile, I was 15, and we were in Viña del Mar, which is one of the, like, the oceans there in Chile.
Obviously.
And my aunt's like, oh, you can go swimming. I'm like, okay, by myself. Because I went with, like, my grandma and my uncle. I think it was, yeah, my uncle or my aunt. Yeah. Anyways, I was I wasn't by myself, right? I was going and I went swimming and then I stopped and then something hit me. And I looked down, it was a dead baby penguin. And I was like, bah! And I got out. Like, I was, like, freaking out.
How did a penguin get there?
I don't know. And
Like,
then,
was it fully intact?
yeah, like, it was a penguin. It was, like, this small. It was, like, small. Maybe it was a regular size penguin. I don't know. But he was, like, about this big. So
That's
he's
small. Yeah.
So he's, like, yeah, like, about...
Your elbow to your...
No, that's too big. It was, like, up to, like, my hand. Like, a little bit past my hand to my elbow. So he was tiny, but it was enough to, like, touch me, right? And I was like, ugh. So I got out. The next day, my grandma was like, oh, we're going to go to the feria, which is, like, a huge market in Chile. And my grandma's like, oh, look, they caught a shark. Because we were in Viña, so it's, like, all ocean, right? A lot of seafood and that kind of stuff. They're like, no, they caught... Because I used to go to the feria to get mote con huesillo, which is, like, a traditional Chilean drink. And, we got a mote con huesillo, and then my grandma's like, oh, look, they caught a shark. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, let's go. And they said, go take a picture with it. I'm like, what? So she made me go and stand with this shark that was literally just killed. And he's, like, all, like, drippy and gross. And I have to stand beside and take a picture. I was like, oh, my gosh. What if I'm thinking, of course, the shark
What
is,
if it
like...
comes back to life?
Well, the shark is, like, literally not even the size of me. He's probably up to, like, my like, leg. Like, my full length leg. So he's a small shark. But I'm
That's
thinking...
it? I thought it was, like, a great white, like,
No!
huge.
No! He was a small... It was enough to terrify me, though. And I'm watching, and, like, I was like... And I'm like, just, like, touch it. I'm like, no, good, thanks. Let's take this picture and get out. I should look for that picture because I have a picture of it with it.
I want to see how terrified
I was probably just like smiling like normal, like thinking I'm gonna die today because the shark is gonna come alive to kill me. See what happens when you watch Jaws as a young child and get tormented by two older brothers? You get traumatized with stuff like this. I bet you anything if I watched Jaws right now, I'd still be scared of it. I could just hear the music and it's just like, knowing how mechanicalized and like
the shark's like,
but like when you think about it, like even like watching TV shows with Dan, I'm just like, they're like something happens to this person, they get bit. And it's like how fast you think he's gonna die? I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna die like super fast. Like
I saw a picture of people put up this big screen, like a kind of like a drive-in movie screen, and played Jaws while they were sitting in floaties in the ocean.
No, I couldn't. Like I just moved my legs because I'm terrified of even thinking about it.
Yeah, and they were all sitting there watching it.
Do you remember when we used to go to? Do you remember we used to go to Mink Lake camping and they had that dock, and you would swim to the dock? And what horror one was it? Michael Myers that got killed at the camp, or Jason? Okay,
Voorhees.
so whenever I would do, like, I would go stay with you, I'd be like, oh god, Jason's gonna come kill me. I would swim so fast just to get there.
I have to show you.
Because the algae as well would touch you. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, I'm like thinking, I'm going to die today. And like, I hated swimming with you out there because I knew something was going to happen to me. Again, water. Like, it's just water related.
The one thing that traumatized me about water, because I like to go to pools a lot.
Yeah.
Was that Final Destination where the guy hits the thing and it turns into it, like it drains all the water, so it's suctioning.
Yeah.
And this guy is swimming, and he gets stuck to it.
Yeah.
Because the suction is so
strong,
powerful.
Yeah.
And he gets all his insides sucked out.
Oh.
That terrified me. I would not swim over those.
See,
for years.
You're terrified of that because of that, and I'm terrified because I think that little hole is going to come and release a big shark and get me in the swimming pool.
The cat just made a noise.
It was like,
he was stretching.
Anyways, now that I'm all freaked out, I have to step down, and I don't want to step on the ground.
What is there, a shark under my couch?
I know, but I'm just scared. Like, it just freaks me out.
I have to show you a picture. Someone planted a statue of Jason at the bottom of a lake.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'd just be done. I wouldn't even go in there. I'd be so scared.
He's just like, it's just a statue. But
doesn't
it's,
matter.
No. Yeah, you would lose your mind.
I would. Imagine just camping and swimming to a dock freaked me out. So, anyways, I think we got a little carried away in this conversation.
A little. So,
we should probably say goodbye.
The last time I looked at it, it was 20 minutes, and now it's 50.
So, we're going to apologize. We went on a little bit of a ramp. Welcome to the Maughter Podcast. You get a surprise every time. We got to talk about what our sound was. Last week's sound was a Slurpee straw getting swished in a slushie. In a Slurpee. So, nobody guessed that because only Ian was the one who did it. But he did, I can't remember what his comment was. We'll have to look at his comment again. Because he did comment on it. Okay, don't forget, we're going to do a guess the sound. So give us 1 second, we'll let you guess this sound. Okay, so guess this sound. Okay, one more time, guess this sound. Okay, we'll let you guys...
Good luck.
Good luck. These are like easy things, I feel like. But I bet you if we were listening to them, they'd be like, oh, I got nothing. But anyways, so we hope you guys have yourselves a great Friday. We hope you enjoy. I can't remember what I was going to say. Anyway.
Subscribe, comment, share.
There we go. See, Polly's got me. Comment, subscribe, and share. I think I just said the same thing. Don't forget to, comment.
Holy. You need to go to bed.
Apparently. Okay, we hope you guys have a great day.
You already said that.
Okay, bye.
Okay, have a good week. Bye.